Yeah, you said it has outraged neighbors and the community, and now the NAACP is calling for a closer look at the closure of this Safeway. Safeway has now made its plans official to close the supermarket near the intersection of Webster and Geary in the city's Fillmore district. The chain sent a letter to Mayor London Breed Tuesday saying that it would be closing the location on or around February 7th after 40 years of operation. In a statement, the chain said the decision came about following ongoing concerns about associate and customer safety and persistent issues with theft. Customers said the closure will devastate a community that needs a place to buy groceries.
We can't lose something like this without people suffering. A lot of elderly people can't just go wherever the new Safeway is.
Safeway said in a statement that workers have been notified of the closure. Regular customers say they will miss the staff here who have become a part of the community and say they worry about the closure of a pharmacy that serves the community.
Where are the elders going to go for their medicine? You got Queen Ada Hall. You got the different elder buildings or senior buildings around here for the community. Where are they going to go and shop at? Safeway is reasonable for us.
Now the local branch of the NAACP is stepping in, saying the closure will cause irreparable harm to one of the city's last remaining black communities. Reverend Amos Brown is calling on city leaders to block the sale of the property if it will bring harm to the black community.
This is a slap at black people. And we are saying, we see it, we feel it, and the world needs to understand.
All right, guys. So once again, we got to talk about a reoccurring theme, a reoccurring story in these progressive cities that just seem to be falling apart. Okay, the businesses in these cities are leaving in droves due to the progressive leadership that is running these cities into the ground. Okay, and this is a story that I have been following for a while. I am following up on it, and it involves a Safeway out in San Francisco's Fillmore neighborhood, a crime-ridden neighborhood, a so-called black and brown neighborhood. And the so-called black and brown residents are raging against this Safeway closing. Now, why is this Safeway closing? Well, it's the same reason that a lot of these businesses are packing up and leaving these progressive cities, is because crime is out of control, particularly theft. Okay. And when you have an environment, a business environment where you cannot make a profit due to the fact that you have criminals chronically stealing from your store, then yeah, you're going to get up and leave even after 40 years, and you're not obligated to stay there just simply because you're in a so-called black and brown neighborhood. But that seems to be something that these residents don't understand. Take a look.
An embattled Safeway in San Francisco will close nearly a year after city leaders push to keep it open. Safeway says its location near Geary Boulevard and Webster Street will close due to issues with safety and theft. KRON 4's Will Tran has more.
The Safeway Fillmore area will soon be no more come February 7th. We know that's the final day for this store. After 40 years in business, that's the finish line. They will turn off the lights and close the doors forever. They actually wanted to close this 11 months ago, but the city and the community pushed hard for Safeway to continue, and that's when they signed an extra lease to go on as long as they are. But next year, in less than 2 months, it will be over. Let me show you some images inside that we got earlier this morning. Safeway has mentioned the safety of its employees and just theft that is out of control. Look at these images. Inside at this one particular area, you see 3 security guards inside. I saw actually 2 more outside just to keep a close eye on the shoppers. And then if you go through a line, forget about self-checkout. They removed that several months ago because it just wasn't stopping anybody. The honor system was not working. So now, if a cashier is not there, the gate is closed. It's open, of course, when you go through and pay, then the gate is open. So lots of problems for Safeway, and Safeway in the end said it simply was not worth it for them to continue. But left in the wake of all this is the community, of course.
I mean, it's going to create a food desert in this community, and it really is a community institution that I'm just very disappointed that there is not better efforts underway to save this community institution, because it's going to leave a lot of low-income people, seniors, and families without a place to go for what we need.
Yeah, so you're seeing that, you heard that, okay? The Safeway is closing down due to out of control crime and theft. Okay, very simple concept, but apparently the woke black residents don't really understand this concept as to why this grocery store can't survive. So they're demanding that the store stay open, even though the store cannot make a profit. Okay, and the communists that are running San Francisco have essentially tried to force Safeway to stay open, but time is almost up. Okay, next month they are scheduled to close, and these residents are just having a hard time accepting the reality of the fact that they're about to lose this grocery store. So without further ado, let's get to it.
He is really enraged, and they're demanding the city save what they're calling a pillar in the community.
A local Safeway store. And today they held a march to City Hall asking for leaders to step up. Crown 4's Leslie Gooden has the story.
It's really important to my family.
We want you to know that the Fillmore is upset and we demand justice. We've been through 50 years and probably more of injustice in the Fillmore, so we want justice.
Wow, demanding justice, right? Pay attention to what these people are demanding. They're demanding justice. Now, what do they mean by that, right? Fight for justice. The Black Holocaust, okay? They see themselves as a victim here, okay? And that there's some type of injustice because this business is leaving due to the fact that they can't make a profit. When the reality is that, no, Safeway is actually the victim, okay? And the victim is leaving. They don't want to be abused anymore by this community, okay? A community that has voted for politicians that allow crime to get out of control. So what you should be demanding from the politicians is for criminals to be held accountable, okay? To lock up the criminals and throw away the key. But again, these people believe that locking up black people, actually punishing black people for crimes, is racist, right? That's racist, and that's also an injustice. So therefore, you can't do that. But then they turn around, they boo-hoo, whine, and cry when these same criminals turn around and rob businesses out of the community, okay? And then they'll turn around and say, well, that's an injustice that the business is leaving. As if businesses are supposed to exist for the sole purpose of allowing the people in the community to just steal as much as they want, right? While the business suffers. And that's just not how it works. These people have a fundamental misunderstanding of capitalism. Okay, and that's what I'm starting to realize about these people. They don't understand capitalism. And a lot of that is because our education system is failing, okay? It's failing people. They are spending more time teaching people about victimhood rather than teaching them about why capitalism is good and how capitalism works. That, hey, if you want to have access to goods and services, like, for example, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, food, okay, basic things, then you need to embrace capitalism. You also need to embrace being tough on crime, because in order for capitalism to work properly, you have to have law and order, okay? That's how it works. It's very basic stuff. It's not hard to understand, but the communists believe that for whatever reason, they're supposed to get access to these things, and these businesses are not supposed to make profit. While also at the same time, criminals should just be allowed to do whatever, okay? And not be punished for it. And that's not the way it works. It never has worked that way, and it will never work that way. But hey, again, I'm not surprised that these people don't understand this, because I think our education system really is that bad, right? Where people, again, they don't understand basic concepts. And also a lot of these people lack common sense, and this is why they vote Democrat. This is why they vote progressive. Progressivism is antithetical to common sense, and this is the result.
The days are counting down for this Safeway in the Fillmore. The grocery store, according to the community here, serves as a staple, and its departure is devastating to them.
Well, it's not just a grocery store. It's a full-fledged grocery store. You have a deli, you have a meat market, you have a bakery, you have a pharmacy. I mean, you had a bank in there. Wells Fargo, of course, left, so... And it's the only grocery store smack dab in the middle.
On Tuesday, a community rally was held demanding a call to action from local leaders to address the pending closure.
Well, I want everyone to know that we're looking at replacing Safeway with another grocery store.
And that grocery store is not going to survive either, because you're not addressing the core problem, which is out of control crime. So you could replace Safeway with another store, but ultimately that store is going to have the same problem that Safeway has, which is the fact that crime is too out of control to operate a profitable business, okay? The margins when it comes to the grocery industry are tiny. We're talking about 1% to 2%. In order for them to survive, they have to have high volume, okay? And when you have shrink, okay, which again is due to theft, that eats into profits. So again, these people need to fundamentally understand how this works and why is it that Safeway is leaving. Until you address that core concern, nothing's going to change. It doesn't matter what you replace the Safeway with, it's still going to get the same result.
We're not necessarily focused on keeping Safeway here. What this is about, the unfinished agenda, all the obligations that the city owes this community. It's time for us to have a hearing and get real facts.
Safeway was originally set to close last March, but Mayor London Breed was able to negotiate a deal that would allow the store to remain open until 2025.
1956, San Francisco, you signed off on the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency. So you promised this community, and it's time for you to be responsible and atone for the sins that has been done to a community that went through hell because of the redevelopment agency. So we're not playing. We're demanding.
The grocery giant announced last month it would close on February 7th. Until then, the community says they will push to keep their Safeway. Leslie Gooden, Crom 4 News.
Yeah. So again, they're demanding everything under the sun except to fix the actual problem. And until these people recognize what the actual problem is, nothing is going to change. We're going to continue to have these stories, and I'm going to continue to cover these stories because I am waiting for one of these woke revolutionaries to wake up and realize what the actual problem is. Demand competent leadership, demand leadership that is going to enforce the laws, that are going to lock up criminals, okay, and create a business-friendly environment. But in order for them to do that, they might have to vote Republican, right? But all Republicans are racist and they hate blacks. So therefore, they'll never do that, right? They'll never figure it out. As long as they have this victimhood ideology, this woke ideology, this progressive ideology that prevents them from voting correctly, you're going to have the same problem. You're going to have the same problem. They're going to continue to boohoo, whine, and cry about it until they figure it out, until they wake up. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.